Oturumumuzun başlığından sizlere bahsedeceğim önce. CEO Forumu, düşük gelirli bir dünyada kurumsal strateji konu başlığını konuşacağız. Bu oturumu modere etmek üzere MRL Corporation CEO'su ve Başkanı Sayın Cornelia Mayer'i zaten şu anda sahnede görmektesiniz. Konuşmalarını yapmak üzere de Ak Enerji CEO'su Sayın Ahmet Ümit Danışman'ı, BİM CFO'su ve İcra Kurulu üyesi Sayın Haluk Dortluoğlu'nu ve Öztürk Şirketler Grubu CEO'su Sayın Ahmet Türkoğlu'nu sahneye davet ediyoruz.
Hello and a very, very warm welcome to this, the last session of this year's Istanbul Finance Summit. My name is Cornelia Meyer, as I was kindly introduced, and I'm the moderator. This is a great session. We have heard from scholars, we have heard from regulators, we've heard from financiers. But now we are talking to the people that actually do. We are talking to the doers, to the people that have companies, that employ people, that are in the real part of the economy. So this is a great session. So are you all sufficiently energized to listen to my energetic CEO panel? I hope you are. The session is the CEO Forum, Corporate Strategy in a World of Low Returns. In the aftermath of the financial crisis, the world has been characterized by an environment of low returns in the OECD economies and volatile returns in emerging markets. The IMF has adjusted just now the growth forecast for this year downward, especially also in emerging markets due to the China's recent downturn of the economy. CEOs live in this economy. They live it every day, and they have to manage it. They have to manage their margins. If they don't make money, they can't pay their people. And if they can't pay their people, they don't go out and consume things, and so we have a vicious cycle. So these people that you have here, they have every day, day-to-day manage. What we'll do now is we'll have a little sort of slapstick ping-pong match of me asking a few questions, and then maybe them answering very, very quickly, and then maybe also interacting with each other, and then we'll open it up to you, because we're sure this is a really cracking panel with some of the top CEOs of the country in here, that you have questions. So I think I will start off with Mr. Ahmet Türkoğlu, who is the CEO of Öztürk Group. It's a conglomerate. You do oil, you do construction, you do all sorts of things. And my first question to you is, how has the end of the commodity super cycle affected your business, as you are partly in the oil business?
It affects us too much, of course. First, let's start with oil business. Our company is OPET. You know, oil prices decrease from more than $110 to $42, let's say. And we keep national stocks. It is obligatory to keep stocks. It means if you don't hedge, you pay. If you hedge, you pay again. It means your returns go down. Then it is, of course, not today's issue. It's everyday's issue, fluctuating prices. So we have some solutions in ourselves related to sector or not related to sector. Related to sector, we have some partners to make better business units. One of them is Turkish Airlines partnership. We created aviation fuels business. Now we are partnered with Turkish Airlines. We supply jet fuels. Then we differentiate from gasoline stations. Another partnership is Fuchs, German company, lubricants. We have lubricants, but it's not enough if you do yourself. Then we have partnership with this company, then it's better to penetrate in the market. But now, for last 2-3 years, we see this is not enough. These solutions was 4-5 years ago. Now, we try to create different business units not related to sector. One of them is tourism. Actually, from the past, we have one golf cars just for hobby, but we see that returns going down for oil business. Then we invested 400 million euros for tourism business. We bought 2 hotels, one of them new, and we bought 1 more golf course. Now we have 3 hotels, 2 golf courses. Our hotel, Regnum, we call it, now it is center for G20. Just 1 year ago, we just built it, and we try to do excellent business. Then Regnum is one of them. We see that if you do a good thing, you can get some answers from the market. But again, it's not enough. We have fluctuations in this business too. Oil prices affects our oil business, also affects our tourism business. If you decrease oil prices, okay, you lose some returns, but also you lose some customers. The best customers are coming from oil-rich countries. Then again, you are affected. So you try to find another solution for low return. We have another solution, mining. We start to mining to differentiate the basket. Now we have zeolite business. It's a small business, but we see its future brilliant. Now we started for pet business for zeolite. You can use for some products in pet business. So we differentiate everything for business units. Of course, we do some traditional precautions for all kinds of sectors. I can continue or...
Oh, let's go on, and you can come in later, because what I've taken from this is you're nimble, you adjust, you see something doesn't go so well, so you do something else. So that's how you keep your people employed and your company going in very difficult times. What do you think, I mean, now we come actually to what you're saying. How will you position your group? Now you've told us what you have done.
Yes.
How will you position your group going forward if the low returns, if the volatility remains? What are your plans?
First of all, we try to manage our incomes. We have different currencies, let's say US dollar, euro, Turkish lira, and we have some credits, some expenditures for our business units. So we try to combine them, and we optimize our incomes. It's same for our costs. We try to minimize our costs for managing our assets or our stocks, let's say. Then we come to some conclusion. Another issue is human resources. We have lots of people working for tourism business and gasoline stations. We try to decrease the number of people, but on the other hand, we try to increase their qualifications. So less people with more qualification.
Do you personally train them, or do you send them off to schools to increase the qualification?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Okay, both. So that's very much in line with what His Excellency Minister Shimshek said, you know, the investment in the human capital of the country.
One more point, for oil business, if your returns lower, then your customers also going from the sector. Actually, in gasoline business, we operate for dealer-owned, dealer-operated stations.
Yes.
But now we are changing the issue. Now we own, company-owned, dealer-operated. Then we try to strengthen our ties with our dealers and customers. Then we can reach our end users and customers better.
So as I'm coming from the oil business, you're going from dodo to kodo.
Yes, you know very well.
It sounds like baby language, but we use that in the oil industry.
Yes.
So I think we're staying. You are going to be the beneficiary of the low oil prices, so we're coming to you last because you benefit from part of this. But we're going on from you have it hard. I guess Mr. Ahmed Turkoglu. I don't know, Mr. Haluk Tortolu, who's the member. Sorry, I'm on the wrong place. Mr. Ahmed Danisman, who is the general manager of AK Energy, which is in the electricity business. You have it hardest because it's incredibly hard to make money in your part of the business. And my first question to you is, how much does your sector depend on economic growth rates to generate profitable returns?
Well, thank you very much, Cornelia. As AK Energy, we are in the energy business. We have 10 power plants in operation, 8 hydro, 1 wind, 1 CCGT, gas-fired power plant. And we are also in, as a group, the distribution business. So we have electricity distribution region. We have an integrated business from generation trading down to end user. So this sector is has been a booming sector in Turkey. Economic and political stability within the last 13 years was quite profitable for the energy sector. Energy sector has gone through a tremendous change. Since 2002, between 2002 and 2014, there has been 40,000 megawatt new capacity added to the system, and mostly by the private companies, private sector, which makes like $50–60 billion of investment. Distribution business has been privatized fully in Turkey, which has never been considered. It was always a public business 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. Another $13 billion investment there. Government thermal power plants have been privatized. Another $10 billion spent there. New investments are made in the distribution systems to improve the systems, theft and loss. Another $5–6 billion spent. So in total, there has been like $80 billion of investments done in this country within the last 10–12 years. And the biggest investment took place after 2008. I think 2008 was the backbone of this business, because that was the time when automatic pricing mechanism was introduced. 1st of July 2008, there was the decision to implement a cost-based tariff system to avoid government intervention into the pricing mechanism. So gas price, coal price was automatically adjusted within the electricity tariff. And this was the key thing, key message for all investors. From that day on, the investments picked up, because there was the trust in the market that there would be no intervention, there would be free market, cost-based pricing. Taking this into account, from 2009, there has been 30,000 megawatt investments. So out of this 40,000, 30,000 megawatt was made during this period. Within the last 2.5 years, the amount is like 15,000 megawatt. The total installed capacity in Greece is 17,000 megawatt. So in 2.5 years, there has been investment as much as the total capacity of Greece in Turkey. So this is a huge commitment from the private sector, big trust from the private sector. Obviously, the end users, eligible customers, and especially the state gained much out of this, because all the investment responsibility or the cost is shifted to the private sector. Operating cost, trade unions, employment, all these problems shifted to the private sector, new investments. Therefore, the government got rid of big burden, and now it's in the hands of private companies. If private companies did not invest it was an obligation for the government to make these investments because this is an infrastructure investment. Therefore, this is a must-done thing. And if government is making the investment and there's no profit at the end of the day because of depressed prices, this would not be a problem, the treasury would pay. Whereas in our case, the major motivation for private companies to be involved is to make profit. And today we have difficulties in this respect. Maybe I can comment on it.
You should comment on this. You have difficulties. How are you handling the difficulties?
Well, basically, as I said, like roughly $80 billion, probably $60 billion is the bank lending. This money has to be paid back. This is a huge investment. The companies have to serve their debt, which is denominated in dollars. Electricity revenues are in Turkish lira, and 2012 electricity price in Turkey was the average price in the market, free market price was 149 Turkish lira, when the gas price was $663 per 1,000 cubic meters. Now, gas price is more than 800, 804 Turkish lira per 1,000 standard cubic meter. There's a significant increase in gas, and the average price in the market is 132 Turkish lira. And since then, there has been a huge change in the value of the currency. So the big burden is on the hit coming from the exchange rate. Our earnings are in Turkish lira, but our debt and payments are in dollar terms. So even if we make operational profit, we have higher EBITDA, we have positive EBITDA. When it comes to the balance sheet, the loans that are borrowed from the banks in dollar-denominated currencies are bringing big exchange rate losses into the system. So you cannot even if you have money, you cannot cash it out. It stuck in the company.
Did you not hedge your dollar exposure? Because your revenue is in Turkish lira. Did you go out and hedge, or
of course.
did you only hedge part?
Of course we do, but this you can only do it for these amounts for a year or maximum two. Going beyond that is not economical.
It's a problem of tenor of hedges for emerging markets, which is something I think some of the development banks should address. So if you look at what's happening now at some stage the Fed interest rates will go up. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, which will make life even more difficult because dollar will more appreciate. How will an eventual hike in interest rates by the Fed affect your business? What is your prediction?
Well, as I have mentioned today, there's oversupply in the market. There's too much generation and demand, which has been 5.5% between 2002 and 2012, decreased in the last 2 years. So the growth in the electricity demand is going down. So growth is a key for us to push the prices up. Oversupply is the major problem. But this is temporary. This is not, we don't see this as a permanent problem. This is the nature of energy business. The supply side is acting differently on the demand side. Demand is very, let's say, elastic. If you switch the lights off because of one reason, there's no demand. It's very easy to cut the demand down. So in 1 year, from 9%, it can easily go down to 4%, even to 1 or 2%. Whereas the supply, you build the power plant, it takes 5 to 7 years to build it, another 20 years to operate.
Yes, now we're going from the long cycle business, you're both in long cycle businesses, to the short cycle business. And to your end user, to your one of your consumers, you know, he has trucks, the truck things around. So he's one of the end consumers. Mr. Haluk Tortolu is the member of the executive board of BIM Turkey. BIM is, when we look at the nice slide that we saw of the pyramid, BIM actually serves everybody in the pyramid, right? You say you bring the same level of quality of goods to everybody, irrespective of affordable goods, irrespective of where they're from. So you're equitable, affordable, you're in line with the goals we have just seen. You operate in three countries, mainly Turkey, but also have operations in Morocco and in Egypt. So the first question to you is, you operate in various emerging markets. How has the low return environment affected your business, especially in Turkey? But can you quickly also talk about Morocco and Egypt?
Actually, thank you very much. Because in retail, we are in a retail business, and retail, people don't rely usually on loans, bank loans, because it's a negative working capital business. And so the low return and high return in terms of interest rates doesn't affect retail companies on the first day. Of course, we are not in an isolated economy. Sooner or later, things are affected, but it doesn't affect on the first day. And plus, when you come to food retail, food is a commodity that people that will stop consuming the last. So you can stop buying cars, you can stop buying refrigerators, but food will be the last thing that you will stop as long as you're alive. So it's said to be a defensive sector. It's said to be defensive sector in the difficult times. When the times are difficult, still people buy food, consume food, and it maybe in the boost times it doesn't boost with the economy, but when the bad times it doesn't go as bad as in general in the other sectors do. We are on the other side. We are operating in 3 markets: Turkey, Morocco, and Egypt. Of course, and we are also facing different consumption habits, different consumption structures in general. The good thing is, what we have seen in Turkish experience is that when people come to reach some scale, not on the lowest scale of the pyramid, but when people get some welfare levels, they spend more, and discount is, as you have just said, is become an egalitarian format of retail sector, which makes people equal in, at least on food spending. Let's say, as we say, generally we are providing the best, let's say, dairy products, the best milk, best yogurt in Turkey, and that makes all the most rich and the most poor people in the country consuming the same milk, because there's no other better milk or better yogurt or better cheese sold out in any place other than this. And plus, in terms of inflationary environment, we also say, if you have such an, let's say, egalitarian, convenient, low price format of retail, it's also having a suppression on the prices in general. All the prices, we are still saying that the companies like BIM in hard discount, because they are very much focused on cost, because they are very much focused on low prices, have contributing to lowering the inflation of the economy in the overall market. And as a final to say, we say this format is actually not for poor people, but for smart people in general.
I really liked that. I really, really liked that. Now we've seen that we have lower growth forecasts globally. We also don't quite know where Turkey is going, and the other 2 countries have their issues as well. As you said, you need to eat, whether the economy is good or the economy is bad, but will it affect you?
Also, I would maybe make a comment on the, let's say, the consumption habits comparison with European and Turkish experience. In generally, in European experience show that when there's an economic crisis or difficult times, people rush to the lower prices and to discounters more. So it's even beneficiary for European discounters for when the economy is not doing good. Because now people try to save more and they spend on and become more sensitive on the prices, and they more focus on spending on those kind of discounters. But in Turkish experience, this is not the case. In Turkish experience, we say when the economy is not doing well, in our past experience show that also all the food retail, all the retail is not doing well, and also the discounters not doing very well. Maybe it's kind of being affected less, the least being affected least, but still being affected in a negative manner when the economy is not doing well.
That's really, really interesting. I have a question for you. I have one last question for you, and then we open to the panel. You know, these gentlemen's prices have gone down. Have you benefited?
Of course, we have because we have roughly more than 500 trucks and been operating all around Turkey every day. When the oil prices go down, of course, our costs on oil, our cost on electricity, which is dependent on oil, is going down. And this supports us on the lowering of the overall costs on the operational cost OPEX.
Yes, that's very interesting. Are you okay if I ask everybody now to ask their questions? Because I'm sure one doesn't get 3 top CEOs in one room that often. So I'm sure you all are very interested in asking your questions. So please, do we have a mic somewhere? And can I show show of hands? And can you introduce yourself, your affiliation, and ask your question crisply, so our CEOs, they're used to have people ask things very crisply. So can I see a show of hands? Yes, sir? Yes, madam? I think that the gentleman here first, and then the lady. We're gonna reverse. Gentleman first this time.
Hello, welcome. My name is Ahmet Yücel from P Global. My question is to Mr. Ahmet Türkoğlu and to Mr. Ahmet Danışman. I understand that most of your investments and operations are in Turkey. Are you considering, in fact, having operations and investments in overseas where you would bring in euro or dollar hard currency?
Well, as Ak Enerji, our investments are in Turkey. As of today, we do not have any plans to go outside for investments which would require big capex spending.
We love our country. Our plans are investing in Turkey. We checked for some countries in the past, especially northern Iraq, 2-3 years ago, but because of security problems, we couldn't move. All of our investments are in Turkey, and we plan to continue in Turkey.
That's very good. We have patriotic CEOs. That's always good. He's also patriotic. Madam?
Thank you. Sorum Dortluoğlu'na. Şimdi BİM'in pazarlama stratejisini hepimiz biliyoruz. Özellikle rafları çok dikkat çekiyor. Bildiğimiz cafcaflı raflarla karşılaşmıyoruz BİM'e girdiğimizde. Burada örneğin marka vermek gerekirse sizde tanıdığımız dost ürünleri var. Yani ben de onlardan birini kullanıyorum açıkçası. Burada vatandaşın algısını değiştirmek için önümüzdeki dönemde bir planınız var mı? Yani en iyi olan, en pahalı olandır görüşünü yıkmak için yapacağınız bir çalışmalar var mı? Ben bunu merak ediyorum.
Sağ olun. Türkçe cevap vermende bir sorun var mı? Maybe I'll speak in Turkish.
Go ahead. Yes.
Şimdi biz esasen bu algının yavaş yavaş yıkılmakta olduğunu düşünüyoruz. Bu eskiden gelen, yani markanın gücü, daha doğrusu bizim modelimiz, daha doğrusu bizim felsefemizin bir mesajı şu: son tahlilde tükettiğimiz ürünler, yediğimiz ürünler için önemli olan üretim şartları, sağlık, hijyen ve kalite. Bunların da bize doğru şartlarda ulaşıyor olması. Bunların üzerine vereceğimiz ilave pazarlama harcamaları, marka harcamaları esasen ürünün kendisi için verilen şeyler değildir. Fiyat değildir. Ürünün kendisi için verilen bir fiyat değildir. Ürünün kendisi ürünü alıp evinize götürdüğünüzde masanıza koyduğunuz peynirdir, süttür, yoğurttur. Artı ürünün kendisi için verdiğiniz fiyat aynı zamanda satın alma ortamının renkli, rengarenk, sizin hoşunuza giden bir ortamda olması için de değildir. Ürünün kendisi gerçekten masanıza koyduğunuz ürünün kalitesiyle ilişkili bir şeydir. Dolayısıyla bunların hiçbirine vermeyin bir ekstra fiyat. Sadece ürünün kendisine verin. Biz de onu sunuyoruz sadece. Mağazalarda çok cafcaflı bir dekorasyondan kaçınıyoruz. Evet, biz bu imajı 20 yılda eğer şöyle diyebilirim, %70 yıktık diyebilirim. 20 yıl önce bu imaj çok daha güçlüydü. Markadır asıl olan, ürün değil markadır imajı çok güçlüydü. Bu imaj büyük ölçüde yıkıldı diyebilirim. Şu anda Türkiye'de bir özel marka, yani private label gerçeği var. Ve bunu da Türkiye'ye getiren de bir anlamda kabul edilmesini sağlayan ve bunda da ısrarla arkasında durarak bugünlere getiren de BİM'dir. Teşekkürler.
And you had an answer as well.
Bizim sektörde en pahalı olan en iyidir diye bir kural yok. Bütün markalar aynı fiyata satıyor.
Yeah, that's true. Same for your. Do I have another question? If not, I have one more question. He's the last question, and then I'll have 2 minutes for summing up. But please bring the mic to this nice gentleman over there who is waving at you. And please ask your question very crisply and precisely. Thank you.
Benim sorum Haluk Bey olacak. Haluk Bey, BİM marketlerine yaş sebze meyve ürünleri pek fazla yok. Öncelikle gelecekte bunlar olacak mı? Fiyat politikası ve ürünün tazeliğini nasıl korunacak BİM marketlerinde?
Süper. Taze ürünler için mi soruyorsunuz, genel mi?
Genel olarak.
Genel. Tazelikle ilgili şunu söyleyeyim. Yaşlı bir teyzemiz vardı. Torununa çikolatalı gofreti sadece BİM'den alması için müsaade ediyordu. Çünkü BİM'de ürünler çok hızlı döndüğü için ben dedi test ettim. En taze çikolatalı gofret BİM'de. Çünkü fabrikadan çıkıp geliş süresi en kısa olan belki piyasadaki satış noktalarından bir tanesi. Taze ürünlerle ilgili şunu söyleyeyim. Meyve sebze ürünleri satıyoruz. Ama meyve sebze ürünleriyle ilgili meyve sebze ürünlerindeki bu envanter kaybı dediğimiz yani ürünlerle tekrar uğraşmak, paketlemek ve bu ürünleri yönetmek için ekstra personel ihtiyacı var. Dolayısıyla bu da bizim maliyetlerimizi artırıcı bir unsur olup modelin bütünü açısından çok uygun değil. O yüzden mevcut halinin ötesinde ilave bir meyve sebze ürün sayısında artış şu anda düşünmüyoruz. Ama bildiğinizi düşünüyorum. Yeni bir modele başladık. İsmi File. File isminde yeni bir süpermarket, discount süpermarket modeline başladık. File'de çok güçlü meyve sebze, taze et, şarküteri, unlu mamuller reyonları var. Ve burada birçok yerde ve hatta açık pazarlarda bulacağınız ölçüde çeşitli taze ürünleri orada buluyor olacaksınız. Şu anda 5 mağazamız var File'de, haftaya 6.'sını açacağız.
O zaman size ürün satabilirim.
Tabii ki.
Okay, this was very good, and we see everybody's very interested in your business model. You were sort of the rock star performance here. Now, I just quickly summing up, so we can sort of bring the closers of the proceeding in. What we've seen is with Öztürk that they're in the oil business. Obviously, that has been badly affected because we've had, in a year, we had a 50% decline in oil prices, and they have to maintain national stocks, and that's very expensive as well. The way they have dealt with, the way they're dealing with these economic up and downs is they're working with partners. They're also going into new areas. They're going into tourism and other new areas, and they try to very hard work, obviously on the cost side, optimizing cost, optimizing income, having natural hedges, and very importantly, and I think that's also what His Excellency Mr. Šimšek said today, they're investing in people. So it's less people with better education, better income. Then when AK Energy, he was very good to hear the boom, $80 billion over 10 years invested into energy generation and distribution. And obviously that money with the right regulatory framework, that's very important. You had the regulatory framework where you said the input prices are, the feedstock is passed through. But the problem is, as the lira is devaluing and there's a lot of debt in it, dollar denominated, how do you deal with the debt? So you essentially work for the bank. That's not so good, but you're working through, and essentially, as you said, growth is a key for you, because the more the growth is, the more the rates can go up, the more energy you sell, the easier it gets. And then we talked about BIM and the resilience of your business model, which is whether interest rates are high, interest rates are low, economy is up or down, people need to eat. And unlike in Europe, where people shift from higher end department stores to supermarkets, in Turkey, as far as food consumption is concerned, they're using the same throughout. So you have a very resilient business model. Obviously you feel it because people will maybe not buy that bar of chocolate if they can't afford it, but they still need the staple. So you have a very resilient model. And with that, please let us give a big show of hands for our practitioners who've taken time out of their business, and for them, time is money. So give them a big round of applause for being here. Thank you.